Thank you for having us here. Thank you for getting us here, Srila Prabhupada. And thanks for speaking on the, you did so nicely. I want to thank I'm just meeting Vrndavan for the first time. And I want to thank him for getting us here, because it was a major miracle, actually. Vishwakarma and I haven't been together for 35 years. I haven't seen him, and here we are, getting the mercy from all of you devotees and sharing. And that's a major miracle that he got us here. And these devotees were all participants in this, what he spoke on. All of them were from Toronto, and a lot of them came to Vrndavan, right? Leela Shukla and Lokadrishti Mata Subudhi. So anyways, how do we follow up after what he had to say, right? We want to express our great gratitude to the wonderful program you're pushing forward here. And over the years, we've watched and we've seen and we've participated. I was able to serve right here in the palace for a year a while ago. So we've all noticed that things are moving ahead, and the place is beautiful, and it's clean and punctual, the programs, and that there's smiling faces, happy people here. And you're all sharing. Minor miracles brought us here. That's why we're all here right at this moment in front of our spiritual master. It's that he all gave us a taste, a glimpse of the spiritual realm. He made spiritual life simple. He gave us a real knockout punch at some point, and that's why we're all here. We're convinced. It's not an act of faith. We know that this is the absolute truth because we have total faith now in our spiritual master. So to come here, we've all of a sudden experienced some minor miracles, daily, hourly. I want to express what about Sankarshan Prabhu. We took prasad together and remembered so many way back things that we shared in common. Then his young son, he's not a young son anymore. I knew his son in Gurukul in Vrndavan, came and sat with us. And then when you get older, you don't operate so quickly, your mind's a bit slow. It takes 10, 15 minutes to sort of come up with the recall. So we knew each other right off the bat. So I knew him as a 10-year-old or something. How old would he have been? Yeah. And so he was so gracious to remember the first thing he says, "What happened when those bungis beat you in Vrndavan?" I'm going, what? And Kuduchak Prabhu in Quebec had just mentioned this 2 days before this thing that happened. A short story, I was in charge of the Gosala. We had a strike with the workers. So 3, 4, 5 devotees, mostly our wives, had to milk 40 cows every day for 3 months and feed them and clean up after them and keep the place operating. And the workers there, they were from the Bungi class. Now, we weren't caste conscious or anything, but we had problems. So they were threatening to kill everybody. So this is common in India. Life is cheap, So that at that point, all the other workers who were real cow people, bridge bossies, all of them. You know, it's an amazing atmosphere to be in. They all left for fear of their lives. So Shamkatsan's son, this is his first memory. I haven't seen the boy 35 years. He says, "What happened to you after they beat you?" And we had to take the milk to the temple every evening and morning. 200-gallon cans on a bicycle across Raman Reti, which means sand, right? And that was me. You know, that weighed more than I did, double the weight of me, right? And I had to run for my life because they ambushed me and started beating me. And that, to make the story short, the boys at the Gurukul, 100 boys at the Gurukul, never got their milk that night. So to this day, he's remembering, how come we didn't get our milk? It's indelible on his brain. So these are kind of almost like a bit of a Leela thing, right? That it's the pastimes, the things that happen to us as devotees, which Vishwakarma Prabhu expressed so nicely, and the stories that each one of us have experienced, is a taste. It's a real juice of life. Everyone likes to watch dramas and plays and movies and, you know, and read stories. Why are we attracted to Lord Krishna? Because he has millions of pastimes, and they're all way in the other realm of, demons and monsters and this and that. And so there's the demons and monsters and everything in Vrndavan to this day. The Bangi, the this, the that, the dacoits, they call gundas. They've got millions of names for all the different types of people. I learned this one thing, a legal term. You called anybody who wasn't nice, charso bis admi. That was the legal code. 420 was the legal code in India, and it means someone who steals from you. So admi is man. So you're a charso bis admi, you know. And so, anyways, they have these dozens and different terms. Just like for love of God, there's so many different terms and words in Sanskrit, whereas the English language doesn't do it for you, but in legal terms. So all these are kind of juicy pastimes we can all share. Every one of you can inspire us, and you're sharing with us so nicely. So each one of you that we've met, you've all been very kind to come up and speak with us. It's so inspirational for just us fallen souls. What to speak of what you're doing and sharing with the public who are coming to this wonderful place to see Srila Prabhupada. And so thank you so much for just inspiring us and doing so wonderful seva here. And the baton is so pretty much passed, and it's all new faces, young people that are doing the hard work. And I was just a farmer type guy, and I just worked hard, and that's what my claim to fame might be, if there's any. You know, it's that everybody knew I was working back at the temple where they were walking around with Srila Prabhupada. And even in Vrndavan, Prabhupada would go on his walks, and he'd come back. We'd be working on the altar for 3 hours and waiting for him to come and open the doors and have darshan there with him. But especially the essence of this community is the farm work and the cow work and being in the rural setting. We were starting to lose it on the last stretch from Moundsville or Wheeling, right? Is the next town. To get to here, it was like, what are we doing? Where are we going? That's why I said Brajadam worked a kind of a miracle, because it's 7 hours of driving, and that last stretch seems like forever, and it's going to nowhere. And we've been here a bunch of times, but you forget, you know. So anyways, we arrived, and we're all delighted. We're amazed. We're overwhelmed. Look at the smile on his face. And Mother Subhuti, she just wanted to be with all her contemporaries. And there they are. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
You said you were here serving for some time?
Oh, 2005. When would I have been here? Anyway, I got kicked out really fast after 6 months. First, they didn't like too much about householders, and then it was, okay, we don't want any Canadians here right now. So we packed up and left, but those were the days of, it's so traumatic here. We were initiated here in 1972 when there was only down the hill. Nothing of this. And it was so hard, 7 days here. So hard. And then you go off to Vrndavan in India and spend 10 years. You can't believe the austerity. Just every mosquito that bites you, oh, I'm going to die of malaria. Oh, you do get malaria. And then you get jaundice, and then you get malaria, and back and forth. And they heat. And so physically, spiritually, mentally, every way, it's so difficult. And we experienced that coming in the last mile here. We were freaking out, and how are we going to do this? But now it's like glorious, and your accommodations, the rooms are pucka, and they're clean, and everything's fresh and nice. Aren't you impressed? You really? She's overwhelmed too, Mother Subhuti. So, any other thing? No?
Tell us about Prabhupada and how he handled Lakshmi in Vrndavan.
Oh, you want to know that?
He was the first...
No, Vishwakarma and them, they dumped me there and left me in India. 1 day's notice, you're staying.
I still feel bad about it. I do.
That's why I never spoke to him for the last 35, 40 years.
I know. People go, do you remember you did that to me 18 years ago? No, sorry, I forgot. No, go ahead. Talk about, I want you all to hear how Prabhupada handled Lakshmi, because he was there, when Prabhupada was there, he was as the head pujari. So he saw the way
Narottam was the first, and then he didn't last too long, and he had to leave Vrindavan, so I, fell on me, and I wasn't competent, but I did what I could. Because we had British Commonwealth passports, we could stay indefinitely in India, whereas Americans, you couldn't get visas, and it was so difficult. And so that was my demise in India, actually. I had to represent the American and European devotees to get visas for them with the police year after year after year and pay the bribes and this. And I got so sick of it one morning. The cops are all waiting there. I'm getting off the altar. Darshan has just finished. I'm feeling a bit light and spiritual. And the cops are all there wanting their bakshish, right? And I lost it, and they took me away, and they got rid of me. It took them a couple weeks, but they got me out of the country. So anyway, it didn't take you much to get rid of me here. You got me out pretty quickly. But I enjoyed every moment of it, and it was a struggle. It was hard, and I actually have something I want to share. It's really nice. There was turmoil going on in the Dom here at the time, and there hadn't been. We came at one point when no ISKCON devotees had been here for a year or more, and it was Jayad Maharaj asked me to accompany him because he didn't want to go alone. So we came. And he insisted on stopping in Moundsville and reporting to the police that we were going in. And if we don't come out in 2 days, come and get us. And all. So we get here, and we were received really nicely, actually, and we spent some time with Kirtanananda Maharaj. And then we went to the bottom of the hill there was a restaurant or something, and they fed us so nicely, and it was a great time, and then we left. And but then when I came back the next time, there was still some kind of turmoil, and they weren't wanting Canadian devotees or this or that. Something was going on. Oh, what it was that there hadn't been a fire sacrifice in years and years and years. No Vedic ceremonies were going on. So I arrived with my wife, and this was my stepchild. He was like maybe 6 years old and whatever. And I'm so proud of this because he is so proud. He was dressed up as a Brahmin, and he was helping me perform a fire sacrifice for a Canadian couple that was just moving into a house down the road. And they wanted to purify it and get a nice start. So there were all these other devotees. Maharaj might have been there, Varsana Maharaj, came walking up the road, and lots of devotees, and they joined our fire sacrifice and blessed it. And so I'm proud of that, even if that's all we accomplished in that time we were here, right? So, but remembering back to when we were initiated in 72 down on Bahulaban, you call it, right? Amazing things, and it was so difficult. And as old people, we can't really fathom doing it anymore. It's your turn. And you're doing it. You're performing all the tapasya, the austerities, and working so hard. It's a wonderful thing. Oh, he's all about money, right? Right away, within days after all the devotees left, and the deities are, you probably a lot of you have had some opportunity in Vrndavan. The deities' backs are to Prabhupada's house, and there's just a little alley between, and even actually his bedroom and the kitchen are joined. And you'd be cutting fruit for the offering in the afternoon for the deities, and the knife goes click, click on the marble. It's marble just like this on the counters. Click, click, click. And people would run. Oh, be quiet, quiet. Prabhupada's resting right now, sleeping. You're going to wake him up. And so that's how intimate it was. And he was asking every day, how much did you spend for fruit? How much did you spend on the boga? How much did it cost to feed the devotees? How many devotees? How much per devotee? And why did you pay 3 rupees for the rickshaw instead of 2? Well, Prabhupada, the rickshaw wallet was really tough, you know. So that's what he wants to hear, is we have to understand who's the proprietor of everything. Sri Krishna is the proprietor of everything. Prabhupada was watching out for every penny. And even in India, you grew up realizing that you never waste 1 grain of rice. And, you know, and that's like part of the consciousness. So that's what we lived with. So there were budgets coming out of the blue every day. A budget would come, oh, you have to spend less on the deity bhog or whatever, you know, like that every day. And over that year, Prabhupada came and went 3-4 times. Must have spent 4 months there. So that was quite a blessing that I got dumped there by my godbrothers and sisters. So I forgive you. Cheers. Mother Subhuti is going to speak now.